Hello and welcome back to another Thunderous Productions tutorial. I'm your host Jag Thunder and this is Minecraft. And in this tutorial we'll be going over a Better Than Wolves 5-floor elevator. Now I've made one in the past about 6 months ago and I've updated the design and put a video up a few days ago and had just an awesome response on the video. I got like 34 likes, it's like over 200 views now, and I really appreciate all that. So before we get started here, there's a couple things that I want to go over because this is a tutorial. I want to keep things as organized as possible. So let's get started. Things you will need. Minecraft 1.2.3 or below. I know we've just updated to 1.2.4 the other day, and once everything updates, everything should still work as far as the MCEdit and Better Than Wolves and all that. Speaking of Better Than Wolves, you will need the Better Than Wolves mod. I have videos on my channel that show you how to mod out your client to get the Better Than Wolves, and last but not least, a lot of patience. Things that will make this a lot easier. MCEdit. I will be providing a short tutorial here in the beginning of this first video showing how to download it, use it, troubleshoot it, and use the schematics. So please, if you're using schematics, at least watch that part for me, please. Also, in the description, you'll find the schematics in a zip download. And then, like I said before, at least watch the first part of this tutorial if you're using the MCEdit and you're not building this with the tutorial. That way you at least know how to use the schematics because there are 4 of them in the download package. Also, for those who are using the schematics, these are the most important things that you want to pay attention to. When using schematics, always close out your Minecraft client before editing. Do not rotate the schematics. I have 4 separate ones facing 4 separate ways. MCEdit will copy and will paste, but if you try to rotate the schematics, it will mess up the Better Than Wolves blocks. That's why there are 4 different schematics. Figure out which way you want it and use the corresponding schematic. And here's some quick optional things that I just want to share. This is the biggest redstone project that I've ever made. Still slightly confusing to me, so just bear with me a little bit through the tutorial. I'll do my very best to explain everything to those who don't have MCEdit. This tutorial will consist of several parts. I'm not sure exactly how many it's going to take yet, but like I said, I will try to keep things as organized as possible to make things fun and make it successful for you. A lot of work went into designing, building, recording, and editing, so please enjoy that. I love to share this shit with you guys. Remember, rate, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter for up-to-the-minute info on new videos. So let's get started with MCEdit. Okay guys, this is where you download MCEdit. It's in the description. Click here, MCEdit downloads. You'll go to the next page, and whether you're using Mac or Windows users, click here. Mac use here. It works pretty much the same on both systems. So you just click that, download it, and you'll get a zip file. And then I like to put it where I know where the hell it's at. And you'll have this file right here, and just either right click and extract it in the folder that you made, or extract it to the folder and it'll automatically make one. Whatever, anyways, you should be able to figure that much out. Inside the folder, once you extract it, you'll have MCEdit. Just double click on it and it should start. It usually takes just a second or two to get going. Okay, if it didn't load, there's a couple things that you can check. Make sure that you've uninstalled any previous versions of MCEdit. Make sure it does not exist anywhere. Also check your app data local folder and make sure that there's no MCEdit folder in there. It's the same way as you go to your Minecraft client, run app data or %app data% and go back one folder and you'll see the local instead of the roaming. Double click and go in there and make sure there's nothing in there that says MCEdit. If there is, delete it. Your schematics, if you've had any before, should be saved in My Documents, but open that folder and make sure. The other thing too that I found out is sometimes it's a little glitchy with texture packs. If it still doesn't load, go back into your game, load the texture pack back to default, and then close your game out, and then try to run MCEdit, and you shouldn't have any problems. I'm not going to promise anything because it was a little glitchy when I first started using it, but now it works just fine. Just a couple of things to get you through some troubleshooting. Okay, once it starts up, this is the interface that you'll see if you've never used it before. It'll load a couple worlds right here, I think, whatever's in your save file. If you don't see your world there, you want to go to Load World, and then it'll automatically go to your saves file, and you'll see the different worlds that you have a chance to go in and edit. The one that we're going to be doing is the new elevated tutorial, so we'll just load that up, and then the next time it should be in the list. And this is your interface for MCEdit. You right click and hold your mouse and you can look around. Use WASD to move forward, backwards, so right click, hold your mouse and hit W and you fly forward. It's just a real quick demonstration of how it works. A, D, S, and then you can move up and down vertically by using Q and Z. So anyways, what you do is figure out which way you want your schematic to work. And let me get positioned here. And in my world, east is over here. So north is behind me, so I'm facing south. So the schematic that I want to import on my desktop is where I have it. Elevator stuff. Alright, so I want the south-facing schematic because I'm facing south. Open it, and you should be looking at the glass, and it should be facing the way that you're going. And then just put it in your world where you want it. Click on it, left click, and now just right click and you can kind of fly around. And as you can see, I've got some dirt here at the bottom. If you're putting this thing above the ground, just go ahead and left click on nudge, hit the Z key 3-4 times, and that'll put it level with the ground. If you're going below the ground, then just keep holding nudge and just keep hitting the Z until you get it down below the ground where you want it. Like that. And then all you have to do is just import it when you have it where you want it. I'm going to leave it just a hair above the ground here so we can see it. And then just click import. And as you can see, deselect. You can fly over top of it. And there it is. And I think I've got about 3 or 4 blocks above the schematic, so that if you put it below the ground, you have a couple blocks above it to be able to use it. And then I've also left a few blocks around on the outside where you can still look and see what you're doing. So anyways, that's how that works. And then hit the control key, click save, and then you'll see it'll turn red. And when the red's gone, the world is saved. And that's all there is to it. Hit control and then quit, and you can go into your world and do whatever you want to it. Alright guys, as you can see, we've got a lot of things to go over in this tutorial. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each segment. You will get a world save so you can actually walk through this and go back through the tutorial on the things that you might miss along the way, because I'm going to try to keep this moving and try to keep this as short as possible. On the outside of the map, there's some different ways to set up power, vertical power, bringing power back down to the ground, how to set up the windmill and the water wheel right here. Over here, this is the basic footprint that the whole thing will take up, and that is approximately 58 by 45 by 47, and that's your basic setup for the first floor. I'll let you look at that for a second. And then each of these rows is broken down from the very first step and then building the way up all the way to getting the elevator working to this step here. And then this back here is just a test zone as far as the elevators go. You can check that out and mess around with those. And the middle section here also has to do with the main elevator system here. This is 3 different cross-sectionals of the top floor. This is with no wiring on it and just the blocks. This is the wiring and the pulleys. And then this is the same thing where you can see the wiring coming up from underneath about where it comes in at. This row over here, this is for the 5-button selector switch. This is the very first level. That's what it should look like. This is the first level plus 4 blocks high, or 3 blocks high, I'm sorry. And that's what that should look like. And then this is it completed. And this is just the top section that goes over on top of this. And this is the lighting system itself. And we'll go over this in detail a little bit later in the tutorial. This is the first section, second section, and this is the whole thing put together. And this is just to make it easier so you can actually get in there and look around and see the wiring, what it looks like. And then this over here, this just connects onto this. And I've got 5 blocks down here that you can actually test the power with as far as lighting these lights up. Ignore the orange block, it's supposed to be yellow. It's the same way on the schematics too, but it connects to the yellow blocks obviously. And then over here, this is the completed project. And then over here is the very first project that I had, the very first four floor elevator that I had in my UFO. So you can see the significant difference between the two. So this is what you're going to get in your world save. There's a lot of stuff here that you can go over, and there's a lot of really interesting things that you might not know about Better Than Wolves. But I just wanted to go over all that before we got started. So let's get started finally. Alright, the first thing you need to do is make a 4x4 hole in the ground, and then put these two blocks down and these two blocks down, and then you're going to cut out a path off from the right hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks deep. And then you can just surround it in stone or whatever you want to surround it in. And once you get that surrounded, and then this is 2, 4, 6 this way, and 1, 2, 3 this way. And all these are the trim walls that go up. You don't have to put them in yet. I just laid those out so you could see them. Everything building upwards is very repetitive. So once you build one layer, the rest should be very, very easy. As you can see here, we're looking at if this was the bottom floor where the elevator set, this is what it'll look like. But I'm just going to use red blocks for now because that's what's in my hand. And you have 2 light blocks with 1 block in between. You have a detector block, and then count over 2, and then count up 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these will offset just a little bit closer together as the floors get higher, around the 2nd and the 3rd floor, because the signal doesn't take as long to get to the top. But down at the bottom, this is the biggest spread that you'll have. That sounds nasty. Anyways, the green blocks are going to be what you use to switch the up and down. So you have 2 green blocks with 1 behind it, with redstone, and then it drops down redstone, and then you're going to go to a lit torch, and that is very important. And then the same thing on this side for your go button or your break button. You'll have 2 red blocks. You can make this one red. Like I said, I color code everything just so it makes it easier so you can see what's going on. Of course, in your world, you're going to do it in stone or cobblestone or whatever. But this is the same setup as this. 2 blocks, 1 block, redstone down to a lit torch. And like I said, those are very important because the signal will change as it goes up, and when you reach the top it has to be a certain way. Down in the hole, this is where you put your detector block facing your elevator system. That way when it hits the bottom floor it sends a signal through, and you're going to have redstone, repeater, redstone. And all repeaters, unless I specify, will just be set to the very first click. And the only reason that we put this here is because if I put that, then it connects to this. So anywhere that I put repeaters, for the most part, it's just to keep the redstone from crossing over. So that's the very first part of it. And then over here, as far as your light blocks go, the easiest way to line this up is if you put a stack of blocks behind the light blocks, and then take your green block and line it up. Go 1, 2, 3, and then put your very first green block and count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to come down 1 step, 2 steps. And this is in the ground here, but later on it's up higher, but it's still 2 blocks down. So this is the setup. And then 1 block with a torch. And then on top you have redstone, 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 redstone. And then you're going to have a redstone torch here, redstone, and then 2 repeaters. And set it up just like this. Because what happens is when this signal goes off, this redstone torch comes on, and that shows you your down signal. So that's how you build the bottom part of it. And then all you have to do is just fill it in with the walls, just like this, and I'll let you get a good look at it. And I put a number 5 here. It's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And then here's the space between your block detectors, the ones that we just counted out. And this is with the actual elevator floor. Put 2 crates with an anchor on top. And then put your buttons on. And then you can put your light wall in. You can do that now or you can do that later. It doesn't matter. The total height of this is 7 blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then your 8th block is the next floor. So actually this is an 8th block too, if this was the next layer up. So you got 7 blocks, and then 8 goes to your bottom deck. So each one is 8. That's 8, that's 8, and that's 8. Let you get a look at it again. And then you're going to repeat your signal going up. Torch, block, torch, block, torch, block. That's sending your power all the way up. And we'll repeat that all the way up the back side for this one, and then also for this one. And then on the back side here, as far as your signal coming down, this is to light up your block, so your power is coming downward. And if you look over here, this shows you how to take your power up and how to bring your power down. And they're very easy to build. I'm going to build one here in just a half a second. Fucking phone. And we're going to build one here in just a half a second. But anyways, you're going to go up 2 blocks and over 1. Up 2 blocks and over 1. And then every one is going to have torch, redstone, torch on the back side, redstone, torch, redstone. And it's just going to, all it does is alternate the power going down. So that's what that looks like. And you should have your very first layer. Once your first layer is done, just keep adding it up. Just keep going up. It's all repetitive. Everything repeats all the way up. Just keep carrying the block, redstone, and then again right here, as far as your switches go, like I told you down here, count over 1, 2, and throw your first block, and then count back 4, and then step down twice, and then put 2 blocks, and then you're just going to go 1, 2, 3. There's always going to be 3 blocks in between each one of these on this side, and it looks the same. And then go down 1 block and over 1 block into this little nook, and you're going to have 3 blocks, 2 repeaters, and then your redstone, just like that. And we're not going to worry about the detectors right now. We're just going to get this thing moving. And then on this side, same thing. Block, redstone, block, redstone, block, redstone, all the way up. Now as far as this goes back here to light up this side, as you can see, it's really easy. It's the same thing as this, 2 blocks down, 1 block over, except right here at the bottom, right there's your light. If you put 1 block here and 1 block down, and that's the same for every light going up the back side, put a little bit of redstone dust here, a torch, and then redstone dust. And then when we go back to this one, you do the same thing. It's set up the same right next to it. Block, block, redstone, redstone, torch. And then you're going to go up 2 blocks. 1, 2, and then over 1. So if you're looking at it this way, you're going over 1 and up 2. Up 2 and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. And that's how your power gets down this way. And then has redstone power on each top. And then your redstone torches going each way. I'm trying to keep this moving, guys. And then just keep building it up. It just keeps repeating all the way to the top until you get to this section here. When you get to this section here, you're going to have a lit torch on the top. Here, and then also here. And then you're going to transfer your power onto the top deck. And we'll go over the top deck here in just a second. And then as far as your power lead coming up, or excuse me, your signal going down, like I said, there's 3 blocks in between each one. So you go up 2 because it just jumped off that redstone. And then I always throw a block over, whoops, like that. So you're up 2 over 1, and then up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and that's your next setup for the next floor. So throw your redstone dust on top, your torch, torch, and a torch, and some redstone dust right here, and here, and torch, and a torch, and then your signal changes back to no signal again. And then just keep building that up. When you get up to the top, this is the last one. Your signal is going to go over and then down. So if you're looking through the hole in the floor that we're going to build in the deck here in just a second, you're going to have a torch in the hole, 4 pieces of block with redstone on top. On the back side, you're going to have a torch, and you're going to go over 2 and down 1, right from this block right here. And you're going to put redstone dust on top, and then a torch, and then it should light the redstone powder underneath, and that'll transfer the signal from the top deck. And then on this side, like I said, you're just going to run it up, and then just get it down to the top deck and then invert the power so that it's off. And then as far as your lighting on the back side, I didn't finish this yet, but just keep going up 1 over 2. So here you're going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. and then up 2 over 1, and you're right back to where you started again. And then just keep doing that. Up 2 over 1. Oh shit, I just blew that out. Up 2 over 1. And then you're right back to where you started again. 1, 2 over. And then when you get up to the very top, right here, you're going to be 1 block underneath. So it's actually 2 blocks down. Just run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks this way. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks this way. And you're going to cover that with redstone dust. And any repeaters that you need will be going that way, because your power is going to go down. Once it hits this, you don't need any repeaters, because each torch will keep it lit up and keep the signal moving. And when you reach the top, I made a really quick adjustment. You probably see a difference right here. This is a last minute render adjustment. I realized I messed up. You can't have a torch here. You actually have to run the power straight down. Just make 3 steps and then just wrap it around, and then just bring it back into what I just showed you, and that'll take the power straight down. If you invert the power, obviously the lights are going to be on instead of off. So correction right there. And if I go over it anywhere down there, I can't remember, take the torch out. Alright, your main base is 18 by 18. Just like that. It's square. And then the mini base on top is 10 by 8. So it's 10 this way and 8 this way. And then just cut these notches out. 1 here, skip a block, 1 here. And these are going to be for your pulleys. 1 here, block, and 1 here. And if you're looking down the top of your shaft, you'll see... This is getting dirty, guys. But anyways, if you're looking down the top of your shaft through them holes, you'll see the anchors way at the bottom. So these should line up with the anchors. That way when you put your pulleys in, the ropes will go down and they'll hit these, the top anchors. And I'll get to that in just a second. So that's how you build this. And then you can just count your blocks back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's your 8 depth. And then knock out these 2 blocks. And then this corner is 1, 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 by 2 is going to be missing here. And that's how you build the top section. And as far as your lighting and your control system, it's 2 blocks back. 4 blocks by 3 blocks, 2 light blocks, a regular block, a light block, and then 2 buttons. And then 2 blocks behind it here, 3 blocks this here, and 2 over here. And it's best if you put your repeaters down first before you put these up, because there'll be 1 here and then 2 here, and that'll separate your redstone dust. And we'll lay that down here in just a second. And then you're going to have, on this side, it's going to come out, and you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th block. You're going to put a block dispenser, and inside you're going to have 1 solid block and 1 glass block. And then you're going to have 2 blocks over. Don't forget your torch. And underneath you have to throw a little block. That way it's got something to set on, because there's actually air under here. Go over 2 blocks with redstone, and there's your torch that I was talking about before, through a 3 block hole. And you'll see 4 blocks underneath, 3 of these grass pieces, and then 1 more is actually your green blocks up there that transfer the power going down, so that when you hit the button and it switches over, the power switches and goes down. This is the power coming up, and we'll connect that here in just a few minutes. And just remember to invert your power, because you want it off right now. And then the next setup is right here. Right behind this, you want to go 2 blocks back and then cut a hole 1, 2, 3, 4 deep. And then on the other side of that, you want 2 blocks. Go up 2 blocks, make a step, and then right here you're going to come back towards me 2 blocks, and then go up 1 more block, and then lay 10 blocks down going that way. And that's not real critical. That's just where you set up your water wheel and bullshit, and we'll go over that in just a minute too. And up here is where you switch your lighting. So you just came up here, go in 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, and then lay a block. And then you're going to have 2 blocks here, and underneath here is your light block. Let you get a look at that for a minute. And then right behind that, this here is your floor detection system. And just by itself, this will make it stop on every floor. And we'll customize that to make it stop by using this right here. Anyways, you got 3 blocks, 2 blocks, 1 block. And then you got 1 block here and 1 block down. And then your block dispenser. And then you got another block here, and then come out a block and throw one right here. And that's what that'll look like with a block dispenser. And then this isn't real critical. We'll get that set up in just a minute. But basically is what you do is you're going to run the power straight through the middle. You're going to come back into this, your monostat circuitry, which is a block, redstone torch, 3 pieces of redstone just like that. This is the only repeater that is set to max, which is 3. And then you're going to have a redstone torch on the back side. And you're just going to connect that to an inverter. And then you're going to have a piece of redstone in between this and the block dispenser, which has a solid block and a glass block. And that's throughout the whole thing, the block dispensers will have a solid block and a glass block. That way when it switches, you'll have solid power, and then glass, there'll be no power. And then your redstone dust again, see, it turns that torch off, and that changes your signal coming down the back side of the tower. And then we're going to run the redstone dust up just like that. And I always put a repeater right there. That way I've got nice fresh power coming up here to the braking system. And that pretty much covers that real quick. This is pretty simple. It's just a water wheel setup. It's 2 deep by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long. And then it's just outlined. And you're going to put a water wheel right here. And I think I've got one. I don't. Let me grab one real quick. Where in the hell is it? There's that one right here. And all you're going to do is throw that on. And I've got 3 shafts. You can go 1 shaft, 2 shafts, whatever you want to do. The only reason why I moved this back far enough is because when I built it the first time, I had stuff down here I was working on, and I accidentally busted out the bottom and the water drained out and washed away all my redstone. So I just move it back far enough to, if it does break or whatever, it doesn't wash away the redstone. Bad shit. You don't want that to happen. So the actual length of this here is, you know, you don't have to make it as long as I have on the original schematics and shit. But anyways, that covers the main base for the most part. And then, like I said, we'll go back over this here again. This is your wiring in full detail. And there'll be a 2 blocks hole here. And remember the 4 over here. Your block dispensers are going to hold redstone. You're going to put 1 in front of one, and then you're going to load 1 piece in the other one. So it's what happens when the signal switches. This will suck the redstone in, and this will spit one out. And that'll, in turn, catch your signals coming up from your block detectors for your floors. And we'll go over that in a little more detail later. We're just going over the wiring right now. And like I said, here's your 2 repeaters, 1 repeater. Drop your redstone off and go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that just connects. And then use a repeater somewhere along this line so you get a nice signal, and go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and turn 1, 2, 3, and I put a repeater here so you got a nice charge signal here. And as you can see, your floor detectors and your switches all go into this over here. So this is your braking system. This is what's going to make it break. And so when your floor detection system comes on, it sends the signal up through, or it doesn't send the signal up through, and that's going to tell the brake to either engage or not to engage. I hope that makes sense. And I do have other videos on my channel that go over this system really good in detail. Anyways, on the top and this hole here, on this side you're going to have redstone dust, and then you're going to have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5 to this back one, and then you're going to surround these here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're going to put 2 pieces of stone here with 2 pieces of redstone on top. Underneath is your pulley, and make sure that your gears face the power source. That's very important. So this is your power source. So this is the front, this is the front, this is the front, 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 front. And then these here will face up, and then your shafts will go into your pulleys. And you only need 1 stack of 64 in your pulleys because the tower's only like 58 high or something like that. But anyways, that covers that. And then go ahead and cover the top of this with redstone. Leave that one empty. This repeater here is, like I said, set to 1 with the torch. And then bring the power back up. This repeater is going this way because this is what's going to actually turn your direction up or down. So this repeater has to face this direction. The redstone torch for this, let's go right here. Off this side here, These 3 blocks have redstone, and this is your switch coming up, and that goes into here. And remember, this power is going this direction, so this repeater has to face this direction. Because what that does is going to jump into here, it's going to invert this light off, turn the redstone off, and then switch this block to glass. And then that's going to send the signal down for your lighting system. And then it's also going to go up this way, and it's going to tell this lighting system what to do. And then it's going to split off here, and it's going to tell this gear to shut off or turn on. So that's how this whole side works as far as the switching goes. And then just run 2 pieces off this way, and then run it up the steps. Put one on top with your redstone torch here. And as what that will do is when that switches, the torch will come on and turn this one on, or it will turn this one on. So this is, right now it's on, it's spitting this one out. So if we switch it, that comes on, and now it spits that one out. See how that works? So it won't take a signal in because there's no redstone torch there. So anyways, that covers that. And this is the whole thing in a nutshell as far as the top piece goes. Right there's the torch going down to the bottom run that goes that way, and this block here is just holding a redstone torch. Boom, and right here is going to be your 4-block run that we went over earlier, and that sends your power down, and this is just holding a torch. And that's just a look at the whole thing together without the water wheel, of course. Just add your water and it starts spinning and you're good to go. So once you reach the top, you should have this. You should be able to switch your buttons. Down is on the left side, up is on the right side. So if it's in the up position, you should have a glass block over here. When you click the button, it should switch to a solid block. You'll get down power, and everything should light up on this side, and you're in the down position. This isn't going down because the brake is on, because you have solid power over here. Once you click that, it goes to glass and allows the brake off of the pulleys, and down your elevator should go. And that should work on every floor, so I should be able to stop it wherever I want to. If I hit the brake, it should stop wherever I hit the brake at. And that's what we're going to control later on with the wiring system. But right now it's just going to go up and down, and that's the main goal of part 1, is to get your tower built like this and get it to go up and to get it to go down. Once you succeed with that, we will continue with part 2. So I hope you get it. I hope you can get it. Remember to download the World Save, and you can walk through and go through all this in a little more detail, get a really good close look at it. I will try to have part 2 up within the next day or 2. As you can see, we've got a lot to go over, so this will probably run into a 2 or 3 part tutorial. Those that are using schematics, once again, just make sure that, I hope you're still watching. Some of the wiring did change just a little bit, but it's not going to change as far as the schematic goes. It'll still work the same. I just kind of made it a little more simplified. I put this a little closer to the tower. But anyways, that's here nor there. It doesn't matter. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, rate, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, and we'll catch you in part 2. Later.